Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees meeting, October 28th, 2024. Clerk Hornicki, please call the roll.
Trustee Alfano.
Here.
Trustee Cordova.
Here.
Trustee Corkery. Trustee Kozar.
Here.
Trustee Kumar. Here. Trustee Patrick.
Here.
President Casone.
Here, and if we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to make the decisions that will affect the staff, directors, and residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen. Amen. Okay, item 3 is amendments to the agenda. Do we have any amendments? Trustee Patrick.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we switch items 12B with 12A.
Okay, we have a motion to switch items 12A and 12B. Do we have a second on that?
I will second.
Okay, Trustee Alfano? Okay, any discussion and questions on that? Clerk Hornicki.
Okay, Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
President Casone.
Yes. Okay, so we'll move B to A. Any other amendments? Okay, item 4, public comments on agenda items. Do we have anyone signed up?
Yes.
Okay, and I'd just like to remind everyone, we have a 3-minute limit. And if you are speaking on the same thing, if you're going to say the same thing, if you could just kind of shorten it so we don't get too many of the same comments over and over again.
Okay, first one is Cheryl Tucker. Items 14, A through D, actually.
Good evening, Cheryl Tucker. I'm just asking the board to put aside their personal opinions and desires and instead have an open mind and discussion to vote on what the residents of Villa Park want on item 14A, 14B, 14C, and 14D, which all concern the recreation in this village. I'm also requesting that you take time and give good direction to our staff for 16B and 16C. It is very important that we get this going smoothly for the rec department to move forward. We've worked very hard to get this in the village through the time, and I would like to see this trustees move it forward instead of keep rolling it down the road, because this is what the residents want. Seeing you as the trustees have stated several times that you are making these decisions because this is what the residents want and what they have told you. So as a resident, I'm asking that the trustees please vote the way the residents requested and not what the trustees want, but rather that what the residents want done in this village with that recreation department. Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Okay, we also have, the next person is Dan Thomas regarding 12A.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. I'll be brief, and I would like to address the items 12A and B, especially 12A. My name is Dan Thomas. I am the quartermaster of the Villa Park VFW, and as such, my responsibility includes the finances of the post, both income and outgo. It's not an easy job, made more difficult and stressful due to the fact that we are constantly running borderline, vacillating between the red and the black. And that situation would be exacerbated with another liquor license and/or gaming license. your consideration would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, Mike Orlowski, 12A.
Hi, I'm Mike Orlowski, resident of Villa Park since 1965. I guess the main thing that I'd like to speak about is maybe not the liquor license that we're looking at tonight, but all the liquor licenses that have been issued on St. Charles Road, such as the one that was issued to a pizza parlor that used to have inside dining, and now you can't go there and sit down and eat dinner because that's all gaming. And theoretically, to me, why would they have a liquor license if they have no food to serve and it's just gaming? And then we have a dance hall that serves liquor and also has gaming. We have a doctor's office that the front of his facility is gaming. These are all things that the current board's voted in favor of. Also, we have I don't know how how it's going, but I know we had a third cannabis dispensary looking to come into the village. From that dispensary, I can see the other dispensary. Can't we think of some decent businesses to bring in the village that I've lived in for my entire life? That's all. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
That's all I have
That's
for
it.
public, for,
Okay. Anyone else, public comments on agenda items?
Hi, my name's Tina Constados, and I live on Princeton Avenue. I wanted to talk for a moment about the new business going up at the Heritage Stay location, Lena's, and the liquor license that you're considering giving. When I was watching the presentation they gave, I had high hopes for this place. I thought it was going to be something different, as they were kind of describing in what I saw in the presentation that they gave. In hearing more as it went on, I started to think there is going to be gaming there. And I thought maybe it was going to be a place where you could go with your dog, have a cup of coffee, sit and relax, read a book, use your laptop, have a wine and a dessert or something to eat. But in reality, a lounge is a lounge. It's somewhere you go and relax. It's not somewhere you go and you gamble. There's tons of places around to do that. There's tons of places to have a beer or an alcoholic beverage and do gaming. And I really thought this was going to be something different. I would really like to see it be something different. So I'm asking that you really consider first giving them, obviously, their license to serve liquor, but maybe hold off on the gambling. Give them an opportunity to maybe do something different for our village and produce some revenue for it. Not right off the bat, just count on the gambling. At a later date, if they want to come and ask for one, I'm all for hearing about that. But I really had more of a vision of kind of a coziness going in and hanging out. But in the reality of it, nobody brings their dog to have a cup of coffee and play a slot machine. You know what I mean? It's just not, the two visions don't mesh in my mind. So I would really like to see something different. I see St. Charles Road is our main strip into Villa Park. It should, we should build it up and be inviting to people that are coming here. It's the main way to get into the town. It's the main way to get out of the town. I'd really like to see some different type of businesses represented. And I really think that their business is a great concept as a lounge. Now, I understand they need to make money, and if something should happen and the revenue needs to be some gaming put in, I understand that. I don't want to see anybody's business fail. I'm a business owner here myself. But I just also want to see good communication and not really any deception. I feel that way slightly myself a little bit, although maybe they may not feel that way. I'm only speaking for myself. So I really ask you to please consider that. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Okay, anyone else? Public comments on agenda items? Okay, seeing no one else, item 5, public comments on non-agenda items. Kochanecki?
Yes, Larry Hebert. Let's talk about sidewalk repair.
Hi, thank you all for being here. First of all, I don't know two people on the, and there's no name. Can you introduce yourselves?
Certainly.
Sorry, yeah.
So I'm Suzanne McVeigh. I'm the assistant village manager, and this is Brian.
Attorney Brian Baum, filling in for Melissa Wolf this evening.
Yes.
Attorney, I assume. For the village attorney?
As village attorney, correct.
Okay, I just didn't know. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. My question is to the village manager, and to the village president. We got the email to replace our sidewalks. It's been 4 years, but that's fine, I'm thrilled to death. I went in the very next day on 9/3 and paid for it. I got an email on 9/25 from Kevin Mantles. Is he here now, tonight?
No.
Kevin Mantles saying, I never paid, what's the story? It took 2 days, I got no answer. I emailed you, maybe you got it, I emailed the village manager, and emailed Kevin, whoever this Kevin is. By the time I got to the village hall the next day, or Public Works, they had found it. But that screwed us up because it was first come, first served. Now, they're gonna do my sidewalk. They dated it what is it, Kevin, 9/17? 2 weeks ago, it'd be almost 2 weeks ago. A week went by, several days. Now it's maybe this weekend. Now, we've already contracted to have the rest of our sidewalk done because we had to tear out, just so the village knows, our personal sidewalk. The village screwed up when they did Village and Madison, they raised it. When they did our driveway, they raised it. Our sidewalk goes like this, and so many people have fallen on that sidewalk, including myself, and I know it's there. So we paid $700 out of our own pocket to remove the sidewalk from the village sidewalk to my front door. That cost me $700 because I refused to pay the village permit. You guys, finally, somebody came through in Public Works. $250 more they wanted me. I'm not paying for this. It's not my fault. I shouldn't have had to pay the $700. My point is this. I have not received a call from Kevin Mantles or from whoever Jack is. They keep telling, Mandy keeps telling me, Jack will call you, Jack will call you. Nobody has ever called me except Mandy. Now, it's been over a month. When is this sidewalk going in? I have a contractor starting tomorrow. They said they're going to do this weekend. He said he can get started. I need this done or nothing's going to match and people will fall. It's a mess. My point to the village manager is these people work for you, I think. Whoever these Mantles is and Jack, all these people, the people are not returning calls. I know they're busy. Everybody's busy. But if they tell me they're going to call me and I have dates and times and names, they're not doing it. And I know it's not the only job in the village, but darn it, we got put back because they lost our check. It would have been done over 2 weeks ago if they hadn't lost our check. So I don't want to be penalized.
Okay, well, our Public Works Director's here, so he'll look into that, and someone will call you back tomorrow.
It's just, I know, you guys are trying, but it's not working for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, Bob Wagner, pumpkin smash and the cooking oil collection.
Thank you. Bob Wagner here on behalf of the Environmental Concerns Commission. I'm here to promote Villa Park's Pumpkin Smash, which is occurring this coming Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon. Last year, we had 77 families drop off pumpkins. We collected 3.27 tons of pumpkins that went to be composted. So it's kind of become an annual event. It's fun for the kids. So here to promote that. Once again, this coming Saturday, November 2nd, from 9 a.m. to noon, in the parking lot here behind Village Hall. I also want to mention that we are partnering again with Salt Creek Sanitary District. We're going to be doing a special cooking oil collection on the Saturday after Thanksgiving from 9 a.m. to noon, and this will be at the Salt Creek Sanitary District on Route 83. That interesting fact, that cooking oil that gets collected gets turned into biodiesel. So another good event. So thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Okay, anyone else? Public comments on non-agenda items?
Mike Orlowski again. I figured I'd wait and hold this one to the end. But This is in regards to the property at 261 East Kenilworth. It's a halfway house that I've been complaining about since we had a shooting there. Their entire yard, and it's a single-family residence, their entire yard is a gravel parking lot. I've actually went into the village several times trying to get a permit to see if I could get a permit to put gravel in my entire front yard, and I was denied that. I've been told that this property is going to be cleaned up sooner or later. I've complained about it for over 3 years. I was wondering if staff, the board, could see what we're doing about this piece of property. It doesn't look very appeasing to the village in that area. That was it.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Okay, anyone else? Okay, we will move on to item 6. Is a public hearing under the Bond Notification Act regarding the proposed issuance by the Village of Villa Park for not to exceed $1,600,000 general obligation limited tax bonds, Series 2020A. So I would like to bring this public hearing to order. Clerk Kornecki, please call the roll.
Yes, trustee Alfano,
Here.
trustee Cordova,
Here.
trustee Corkery, trustee Kozar,
Here.
trustee Kumar. Here. Trustee Patrick.
Here.
President Kazone.
Here. Okay, the purpose of this public hearing is to take public comments regarding the proposal to issue not to exceed $1,600,000 general obligation limited tax bonds, Series 2024, of the village for the purpose of providing funds to pay debt service on the village's general obligation refunding bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2017, and general obligation bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2022A, and to finance capital projects for the village, namely capital expenditures for the purchase of equipment, including computer equipment, vehicles, utility trucks, police squad cars, and equipment, dump trucks, maintenance trucks, and cardiac monitors in and for the village, and for the payment of expenses incidental thereto. Would any of the trustees like to make a comment for the record? Trustee Kozar.
This is a bond separate and apart from the Villa Avenue project, right?
That's correct. Yeah, this is something we do every year. It's just kind of like a rollover. We pay off old bonds and then issue the new one. And I don't, our finance director is here. If you have any questions, they could direct to him. But yeah, this is done every year about this time. Okay?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. I just
All right, okay.
making sure it was different.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I'd ask the village staff if they'd like to offer any additional comments. Okay. Has the village received any written comments regarding the proposed bond issue?
No, we have not.
We have not, okay, thank you. At this time, anyone wishing to comment should step forward, state their name, and give their comments on this, if anyone from the public would like to comment.
Cheryl Tucker, I have one comment. You made the list, but the incidentals, how are we going to know what the incidentals are, or is that just put in a line item as being incidentals? You listed the items that were going to be used for the bonds, which are fine, which were already approached and brought up to the trustees and the board and put through. But you left a line for incidentals. How are we going to know what the incidentals are going to be thrown into there?
It's actually the expenses incident there too. So it's the expense of the bond issue will be paid from the bond proceeds.
So it's the expense of the bond that's the incidental. That's
Correct.
what that is, the
Correct.
coverage. It's not other items thrown on as
No.
incidentals. It's the incidental for the bond itself.
In and
Okay,
all
thank you.
expenses related to the issuance of the bond.
Right, the issues of the bond.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, we have a motion to close the public hearing. Trustee Kumar, we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, trustee Cordova. Okay. Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay, item 7, proclamations, we have none. Presentations, we have none. Item 9 is an appointment to commission. It's the appointment of Vincent Davis as Commissioner to the Video Production Commission for a term upon being sworn in until April 30th, 2027. Do we have a motion for the appointment? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano?
I'll make them second.
Questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Okay, so Mr. Davis will now be on our Video Commission, Video Production Commission. Okay, item 10A and B is a consent agenda, approval of the minutes of the October 14th Committee of the Whole meeting and the September 23rd, 2024, and October 14th, 2024 Village Board of Trustees meeting and the 2025 Budget Workshop meeting. And item B is bill listings for the weeks of October 14th and 2024 in the amount of $582,049.21. And we have a motion for the consent agenda. Trustee Cordova? And a second, Trustee Kumar. Questions or comments? Trustee Alfano?
Yes, thank you. For the Village Board of Trustees, October 14th minutes, I would like to make sure that my full trustee comment is in public record. I did make a comment at the end, and it has not been reflected in that, and I would like that to be reflected.
Okay. Clerk Kornecki, can that be added?
No, I will not add it to that, but I will comment in this one
Okay.
that that's what you
That was
wanted.
added. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there a reason why we cannot amend that before approval?
We need to pull it off the consent agenda.
What's that?
We need to pull it off the consent agenda
Oh, okay.
if we're gonna discuss.
Okay, if we were going to, if we're going to do that, we'd have to pull it off the consent and then bring it back.
Okay, I would like to make that, do I need to make a motion to consent? Yeah, I would like,
Hang on.
no.
Hang on just a second.
Yeah, no, you can just, you can ask that it be removed from the
Okay.
consent agenda.
All right, can we please remove that from the consent agenda until those corrections are made?
Okay, do we have to vote on that?
Well,
The-
the item needs to be removed from the consent agenda, and then she should make a motion to indicate what it is she wants to do, and then there's a second, and then we vote on it.
Okay, so we have to vote to remove it though first?
No.
Okay.
Anybody can remove something from the
Okay.
consent agenda.
Okay. So we'll remove October 14th Village Board Trustees budget, or minutes, and then if you'd like to make a motion to add that.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to add my full comment, including my last statement.
Okay. We have a second for that. Trustee Patrick?
I'd like to second that.
Okay. Questions or comments? Trustee Kumar?
There's 30 days that we have to publish this in. Is that what we heard last time? So what would that put us date-wise?
It's,
It would be on November 11th then.
Okay.
So that's at 30 days.
Okay.
Trustee Kozar?
So I just want to clarify that. We got some misinformation that was kind of jumbled last meeting. So to be clear, 5 ILCS 120/2.06B governs the approval of minutes. And that reads, quote, "A public body shall approve the minutes of its open meetings within 30 days after that meeting, or at the public body's second subsequent regular meeting, whichever is later." So those are the two timeframes. It's not just 30 days. So let's be clear of that, because that's the bad information we got last meeting. So it's 30 days or the second regular meeting, not special meetings, not COW meetings, regular meeting. So to answer your question, Deepa, it's not just the 30 days, and we have plenty of time to do it.
No, I mean, I guess November 11th would be the second meeting, correct?
Yep, correct.
Okay.
Correct. Okay? Okay, any other questions? Hey, Clerk Kornecki?
Okay, trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Cordova,
Yes.
okay, trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
President Kazoo.
Yes. Okay, so, do we have to make a motion for the amended?
No, you just did that.
Yeah.
So now you just need to do, there's already a motion on the floor
yeah,
to
okay.
approve the consent agenda minus those
Okay.
minutes.
Okay. So Clerk Kornecki, a vote to approve the consent agenda with October 14th removed.
Okay, so the vote is now, okay. Okay, trustee, okay, trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
President Kazoo.
Yes. Okay, we have item for first reading. It's an ordinance approving amendments to Chapter 3 of the Villa Park Municipal Code related to fees for the issuance and annual renewal of the Class L liquor license. Andrew McVeigh. I'm going to call you Manager Harline tonight.
This is an ordinance establishing fees for liquor licenses Class A, or Class L banquets. Ordinance 4381 created the Class L license under Section 3-303 classification. However, the approved ordinance did not establish an original issuance fee or annual fee as required under Sections 3-314 and 3-316. Staff requests waiver of first reading as this is a non-substantive change and we are in receipt of an application for an L license. So the original issuance fee will be $2,000 and the annual fee will be $2,000. This is largely just a Scrivener's error in that we did not add that into the initial ordinance as approved by the board. This was the amount that the board had recommended when we discussed that during its approval.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion to waive first?
Yeah, I'll make that motion to waive.
Okay, thank you. We have a second. Trustee Kumar? Questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Kornecki.
Hang on.
Oh, sorry. Trustee Kozar.
When did we discuss those fees?
So that was back earlier this year when we passed the original license. So I'd have to look for the exact date.
Okay. Can you just follow up with me later?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Trustee Alfano.
So at our last meeting, I did ask if we could get some idea of what other municipalities are charging for liquor licenses, as well as what we are, what are in our constraints to, as a non, or as a home rule and a non-home rule, and compare those. I just received that at like 5:15 this afternoon. I'm wondering what, if these are comparable. I don't know if we're at the discussion point, but at some point, I'd like to have that discussion of the comparable fees.
Okay, we'll vote first on waiving the first, and then we can discuss that, yeah. Okay. Okay, Clerk Kornecki.
Okay,
Any other, I'm sorry, any other comments? Okay, Clerk Kornecki.
okay, trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
No.
President Kazoo.
Yes. Okay, so do we have a motion for ordinance 4381?
I'll make a
Trustee
motion.
Cordova? Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Kumar? Okay. Okay, now, questions or comments? Trustee Kumar?
I also have an issue with the pricing structures that we're availing of all sorts of licenses at this point, including, and I am going to address this again as we come to the licenses AAA versus the licenses quadruple E. What's the maximum we can charge? I did do a lot of research over the past week on what other municipalities charge by myself, and depending on, I know Oak Lawn is probably at the high, and up in Rockford is probably at the low right now at $25 and per like gambling machine when you have a license. I am going to bring up these fees. We really need to look at a deep look at our fees. And I am concerned with gambling increasing in Villa Park. A lot of our residents are out here in terms of, their concerns with regards to that. Now, that's irrespective of my choices with regards to 24 East St. Charles necessarily, but gambling is a huge problem according to a lot of our residents. We got a lot of input saying that they do not want this type of business. I see residents coming out there saying, no, we don't want gambling tied in. And I think the next two agenda items are dealing somewhat with what the village wants overall. Now, as far as pricing, we really need to address this issue because irrespective of the decisions we make, there are a lot of entities already with gambling at this point in our village. And pricing is one way to make sure that the people, decide whether to put in machines or not, right? That's one way you can control that in some way. If it's more expensive, you're not likely to. Now, do I think?
Let's just we can discuss that on 12A and B.
Okay.
Let's see, so let's.
No, even L is, it doesn't involve gambling, but it does involve our liquor licenses. It's something to look at the pricing of those two. I cannot deny what Carrie is saying about that. So I would like, I think, I know waiving the first reading was, I voted yes on that, but I think maybe without this discussion, we may not actually set the price right, which is a concern for me.
Director McLaughlin?
Thank you. So as pointed out in this particular request, we adopted an ordinance, and it was December 18th of 2023 when we adopted it, and only recently, since, as you may or may not know, staffing has changed, liquor licensing is now processed through community and economic development. And through me creating the renewals for the 2025, it came to my realization that there was a error in our code that the fee was missing. And we are now in receipt of an application for an L license, which is for banquets. And
No, hang
so
on, let me
we've
finish.
started the renewal process, and we've already started accepting checks on 2025. So I would respectfully request we do not adjust fees before January 1. Now that liquor licensing is under my purview, I'm well able to go and say, here is what you're asking for, the full study like I've done on other building permits, licensing, and all that fun stuff, and deliver that to you in the spring. But right now, can we please establish a fee for L?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with establishing for this particular case a fee for L.
Excellent.
I would not have a problem with the 2,000 or whatever that was there. But I do think we need to address all the fees at one point on January 1st, or even before that. I would like the discussion to start, because if we're establishing by January 1st, we want enough time to assess what we think is the right fee.
Well, the January 1st, those are already in process. This would be January 1st, 2026.
For all new licenses after,
Yeah.
not the renewals.
So we've
which
got,
were-
I mean, it's not like it has to be done by the end of the year.
Correct. I actually would want it to happen after January
Yeah.
1 and give you everything that you're asking for.
Yeah, okay. Trustee Alfano?
I just wanted to say, Director McLaughlin, thank you very much for that explanation. And I know that when you bring a report to the board, you have comps available to us for neighboring communities. I look forward to seeing that.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Trustee Kozar?
Just to be clear, the L license doesn't have gambling to it. It's just banquets. Is there a gambling component attached to it?
So to be clear, the state video gaming law allows the ability to apply for a gaming license when you have a pour license. A banquet facility would technically qualify as a pour. However, I haven't seen it done yet, but technically they could qualify. Because again, gambling's through the state, not through the local.
Yeah.
The reality that is at play with the state law.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks for clarifying.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? Trustee Alfano?
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, Mark, don't sit down yet. So my understanding, and remind me because it's been a while since last December.
Yes.
My understanding was that this type of license was for them to contract out a bartender, correct?
Yes,
Am I
it's-
wrong on that?
No, it allows for the contract out of a bartender. It also allows for liquor to be consumed not at a table and not with food, which is the distinction that we had with the restaurant and with the other I license, which is that you're at a bar, but you're being served. And for the banquet, that's not that style. And so that's why that banquet was created, so that it wasn't overlapping with a restaurant or a bar.
Okay, so even with that kind of contracted piece, they would still qualify for gaming?
That is correct, because the license is issued to the location.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay, Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, trustee Cordova,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
No.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
No.
President Casone.
Yes. Okay, so that passes, so we can get that going. Thank you. Okay, item 12, which B is, we're going to go first, is an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Article 3 of the Village Code, creating a new liquor license category, Quad A, to allow the sale of liquor at a tavern without gaming. Manager McVeigh.
This ordinance amends Chapter 3, Article 3, licenses to create a new type of liquor license that allows for the sale at retail of liquor for consumption on the premises and the sale of any alcoholic liquor at retail in original packages for consumption off the premises, but prohibits video gaming. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance if the board wishes to establish this type of liquor license.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion. Trustee Kumar.
I'm making that motion.
Okay. Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to second that motion.
Okay. Questions or comments? Trustee Kumar.
A couple of things. I believe that someone getting a quadruple A should get a benefit for giving up their gaming ability, right? This is what's happening. If they're giving it up and they're allowed it and they're consciously making a choice, there should be some benefit in terms of pricing to that particular entity. And that's the way I think to address the fact that there are so many gaming entities within Villa Park. It's the easy way to make money when your business isn't doing as well as you'd like, right? It's the background fall. And this is not about our nonprofits. Honestly speaking, we should waive all these things for nonprofits in the first place. So I'm not, I understand the Veterans Administration, the nonprofit aspect of it, trying to keep afloat and so on and so forth. This is not about that at all. However, for those who are not nonprofit, I do believe that they deserve a benefit from waiving the right to gaming. And so I want to see what management is doing to give them that benefit.
Well, I think that'll be part of Manager McLaughlin's review of all the liquor licenses and the pricing. I mean, if the board wants to waive it for nonprofits, it's up to the board. But we can definitely look at that for next year, for 2026 anyway. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Clerk Kornecki.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Cordova,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
President Casone.
Yes. Okay, item 12A is an ordinance amending Section 3-313A of Chapter 3 of the Village of Villa Park Municipal Code in order to increase by one the maximum number of licenses permitted under the Class AAA liquor license classification. Manager McVeigh.
This ordinance will add a Class AAA, increasing the total to 4 Class AAA licenses. The Liquor Commissioner has reviewed all the documents provided by the requester, and this is for the board to increase the total number of classifications of those licenses.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the ordinance? Trustee Cordova?
motion, yep.
Okay, do we have a second? We have a second for item 12A. Okay, so we don't, just, second?
So it just fails.
Yeah, I mean, the motion fails at this point for lack of a second, but it can reappear at a subsequent meeting.
Okay. Seeing that we have no second, this will be taken off the agenda, and it can always be brought back at a later time.
So we're just not going to vote on that?
Pardon me?
We're just not going to
There
vote
was
on
no,
it?
yeah, correct, there's no second, so it can't be discussed. Okay, move on to item 13A, ordinances. It's an ordinance authorizing the execution of a non-exclusive cathodic protective easement agreement between West Shore Pipeline Company and the Village of Villa Park, Illinois. Manager McVeigh.
This ordinance authorizes the village president to execute an agreement with West Shore Pipeline, West Shore, on behalf of the village to provide an easement for West Shore to conduct, reconstruct, operate, maintain, repair, and replace a cathodic protection system. West Shore has agreed to pay the village $7,110 in exchange for the 10-foot wide easement along the south side Rotary Park. Staff recommends passage of the ordinance, and Director Guerrera is here to answer any questions you may have regarding the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion for the ordinance. Trustee Kumar, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano.
Second.
Questions or comments? Okay, this was, I think, brought up a couple of meetings ago in executive session, so thanks to Director Guerrera for getting this taken care of with them. Okay. Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
President Casson.
Yes. Item 14A is a resolution waiving the open and competitive bidding requirements and approving and authorizing a contract with Breezy Hill Landscaping, Inc. for the furnishing, delivery, and installation of roof terrace improvements for the Villa Park Recreation Center in the amount of $101,435. Manager McVeigh.
This resolution ratifies a contract with Breezy Hill Landscaping, Inc. to be signed by the village president to provide for furnishing, delivering, and installation of roof terrace improvements and provide for payment of the prevailing rate of wages for the Villa Park Recreation Center. Staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Okay. Do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Patrick?
I'd like to make that motion.
We have a second. Trustee Kumar? Questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
President Casson.
Yes. Item 14B is a resolution approving and ratifying the village manager's execution of certain change orders regarding roof terrace and improvements and the installation of a facility flagpole for the Villa Park Recreation Center project. Manager McVeigh.
This resolution approves and ratifies the village manager's execution of certain change orders with McKinney Steel and Sales, Inc., subcontract change order number 3, and GC Roofing LLC subcontract change order number 5, along with the prime contract change order number 57, associated with the increased cost for work related to the roof terrace improvements in the installation of the facility flagpole. Staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Do we have a second? Trustee Kumar? Any questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
President Casson.
Yes. Okay, item 14C is a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a change order to the electrical contract with J. Hamilton Electric Company, Inc. for the lighting of the ball fields at the Villa Park Rec Center. Manager McVeigh.
This resolution authorizes the village manager to execute a change order in the amount of $33,971 with J. Hamilton Electric Company of Elk Grove Village, Illinois, for the furnishing, delivering, installation of electric for the construction of the Villa Park Recreation Center. This change order amends the scope of the project to allow for additional electrical work associated with the lighting at the Recreation Center ball fields. Staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Okay, thank you. And we have a motion for item C. Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, we have a second. Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Okay, questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Casal?
Yes. Item 14D is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving membership fees and hours of operation for the Villa Park Recreation Center. Manager McVeigh.
This resolution would approve the rates for the first year of the Villa Park Recreation Center operation. The new Villa Park Recreation Center is scheduled to open to the public shortly after the new year begins. Memberships for the fitness center will go on sale in November 2024, along with the hours of operation made public. A new memo from Parks and Recreation was provided. This detailed the new youth rates, which are incorporated into the resolution. Staff and the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission recommend fees as listed and the hours of operation as provided.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Kumar, we have a second? A second for the motion? You second that?
I will, yeah, I mean, what are we doing?
Trustee Cordova?
Yeah.
Okay. Questions or comments? Trustee Alfano?
Yes, I do have a couple of questions about the hours of our rec center. The feedback that I am hearing, because I am listening to residents, is that 6 o'clock seems to be a little late for some people, and that they're looking at 5:30, a 5:30 start, and wondering if that is possible staffing-wise.
Director Gold is here.
Yes, good evening. Actually, that was one of the first things that we talked about were the hours and opening at 5:30. So that's definitely, we can switch those to 5:30, yes.
Okay. Can I
go
continue
ahead.
with some questions? So I also compared, because I figured, looking at the rates that we have for Lombard, since that's our neighboring town, and I know a lot of people are already members there. And it does look like their monthly rates for non-residents are actually more competitive than our monthly rates are for residents. And also, it seems like if you have a family of 4 or more, it really isn't comparable for residents to stay in Villa Park, and I'm struggling with that.
Let me see if I can find that, because we did the price analysis for Lombard. Assistant Director Racanelli is here as well. Maybe she has that quicker than I can call it up. But for a non-resident for Lombard, the individual, let me find it here, bear with me. Non-resident paid in full for Lombard is $348. So it's $100, basically $100 more than we do, because we have for residents, because a Villa Park resident will have to pay that $348. And a couple for a non-resident for Lombard is $540.
And
We're proposing in Villa Park, $432, which is less expensive than Lombard for the couple, and $275, $276 for an individual, plus an early bird.
Okay, and then for those families that have four or more, because in Lombard, it looks like they include all under 23, as long as they are not married.
Okay, yep, and the family of 4 in Lombard is
$680.
$672.
Oh, I had 680.
We can double check on that. And then our family,
then what would ours
family of
be?
4 is $552.
Okay.
And we can double check that, make sure that's correct.
Yeah, I think I would like to check those numbers again.
You bet.
Thanks.
Trustee Kumar?
So is it a family of 4 or any family above 4? Because I think that's the issuance here, that Lombard is just setting a family rate, and we're setting a family rate as if you have 4 children or not. I think that is the issue that we have.
It's actually 2 or 3.
2 or 3. So we need to clarify. I think it's better to get families in the door as families, irrespective of if they have 1 child or 4 children. So if we do something similar to Lombard, it would be better for us in terms of pricing, because you get the whole family, right? And you don't feel like, that you're paying for an extra child or a less child, you know. If you have a child, you don't want to leave them at home. It's not going to happen. So we want a universal price, I think, for families in general. Are we giving a discount? Is it a discounted rate because you have one child versus 2 children, 3 children? I really would rather have a simpler system.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
We've kind of based it on what we've done at the pool with,
Yeah.
and this was the first year we did the pool family rates with, and then everybody, any additional children over 4, you get a price break.
Yeah, so I mean, we probably want a similar thing for the community center too. If you have more than 4 children or, you know,
Yes.
whatever, yeah, the price stays the same. A family that has 4 children has a budget crisis to begin with. They don't need
We wanna help out.
extra fee thrown at them. So I think it's important that we just make it simple. This is your family rate, this is your rate.
Whether it's family or-
It also gets more families involved, even if they have children under 12, because they feel, okay, it's okay. Sometime, eventually, some of my kids are going, some are not, and they can weigh the means. So I feel it should be a rate. I do see that the rate is less than Lombard, which is good. This is what we're looking for our residents to get us in the door. It makes me happy that way.
Okay. Anyone else? Trustee Kozar.
So the fact that it kind of went silent for the second, to second this as a motion, made me think that there's maybe some questions or discontent on the board with the rates. If we were to pass this today, can we still revisit those and discuss those? Or is it just going to be absolutely set in stone?
No, we can revisit those. But what we have now is, we want to publish the brochure.
Right.
And we could always do a TBA instead of putting the rates in, if we want to discuss further and have a little bit more of a discount or tweak it a little bit. We can certainly do that.
I just want to give other members of the board,
Sure.
if they do have questions or want to modify things, the ability to do so. I mean, I'm generally okay with it, but, you know, I'm going to defer to people who know more about these things than I do, so.
I think wants to say.
Yes, please.
So my concern with if there are potential changes is that our goal at this juncture is to start marketing to the community.
Right.
So, you know, we have the early bird discounted rate, which is what we're going to start promoting in an effort to get people excited and signed up for their membership. So if the board wants additional time to consider it, we can, you know, talk about it at the next November meeting to set the rates. I would recommend if we could possibly set the early bird discounted rates at a minimum so that we can start promoting that as part of our lead up to opening of the rec center in early January. Or as a whole, we make a decision to set the rates in November. Only because I would not want to start promoting rates to only backtrack early on in the rec center opening, would be my recommendation.
Go ahead, Gina.
I agree with everything Assistant Village Manager McVeigh said. We really want to start publicizing the memberships, and in order to do that, we need, you know, approval for the rates. So if you think the rates are too high, then we should talk about what rates you think are fair. But I would rather do that than, you know, push it down the road and not be able to advertise.
Trustee Cordova.
Yeah, so in my time that I've lived in Villa Park, has been about 14, 15 years, 16, something like that. I have taken classes. We've had family memberships at Lombard, Addison, Oak Brook Terrace, and that's it. And then if we expand on programming, it goes to another 6 park districts around here, including Bensonville. And we drove and drove and drove forever. These prices are great for our residents. The amount of, I don't think anyone else here sees this, but this is this is the programming for the open gym. It's programmed from 6 till 9 o'clock, essentially every single day. There is going to be so much access to fitness and recreation here, where I always tell people if you wanted to go lift a weight in Villa Park, you'd have to go the private route into a gym or private gym or have one in your basement. So this is the opportunity for Villa Park to have a great price to get your family in to a facility that's going to be beautiful, and these rates are, they're great, mainly because I have paid rates at other places as non-resident, and this is the best way to get families into Villa Park and keep them in Villa Park.
Yeah, and I think at our last meeting when we were discussing this, it was brought up that, we've got rates that Parks and Rec Commission discussed for a long time, came up with this rate schedule, and I thought the idea was, let's get this first year under our belt, see what things look like. Adjustments can always be made midstream if need be, if we find out that there's not many people are using it. But I think at our last meeting, we were discussing the numbers, and it seemed like, let's get this done, and then we can always go again and readjust it as needed. But like, Manager McVeigh and like Gina said, we need to get this out as soon as possible. Trustee Kumar.
I'm okay with the listed rates as long as a family is a family, whatever the age they are, and how many ever kids they are. We do a family membership and wherever you want to sit that family membership. I just keep it simple is what I'm saying. I think putting 1, 2, 3, 4 is just confusing. I like simple rates. That's what Lombard is doing. And we should kind of mirror that because that's the one they're going to choose otherwise, right? It's between us, and a lot of times it's going to be Lombard as the closest, nearest. So I don't know what rate you want to put on a family membership. Is it an average for 2 kids or whatever that family membership rate is? I need to know what that is for how many of our kids you have. What are we going to put as that? So that's the discussion I want.
It looks like Lombard gets to, there's one person, a couple, and then 3. That's the next tier. And then it evens out after that.
Okay, so then we should do something similar.
So just to clarify, you would like family to be 3+ people?
Yes.
And not have family 3 people, family 4 people in our rate structure?
Yeah. 4, 5, 6, what are we doing?
So
like every time you have a kid, you have to go and change your membership if you have a family rate. Now, I agree that maybe you don't think your kids will use the facility until they're 12. You might choose a couple rate, but that's your option as a person going to get your membership. Maybe you don't want to change your membership and you think your family is your family and you want your family to be able to access certain things. And as I said, I talked about a discount in programming also for those who have the family membership. I feel like we need to get families enrolled as families, not families as, one kid enrolled, one not enrolled, half enrolled, not enrolled. It just doesn't seem like an efficient process to me.
Just go to.
So I have 3 children, and all I would have to do is pay for a family of 3 in order to get all my kids in there, and I'm a family of 5. I mean, that's not how a lot of park districts do it, right? Usually it's like family units, and then there's usually a threshold, and then it's X amount of dollars for every new child or whatever, $25, or I can't remember what it was. I know that we're on deadline. There are specific times a year when people have resolutions. And if you guys don't understand, it's, the new year, it is back to school because routines happen, and then right before summer when people want to get their summer bods on. Those are those times. We're going to miss this if we don't approve this and get this into a printed booklet, correct, right? I mean, when is the drop dead date for print?
November, we're in our 3rd draft now, so it's in the next couple weeks.
And then the second question is, when were we starting to plan on selling some of these, starting to sell the memberships?
Well, we would sell them as soon as the fees are passed here, but, we're going to have some open houses as soon as we can get into the building. We think it'll probably pick up when people can actually see the equipment. We'll have some equipment, delivered in the next few weeks, and then, the majority of it at the end of November, beginning of December. So, but it's promotion, I mean, the one question that our communication specialist has told me that people are asking is, how much is it going to cost? How much is it going to cost? So, in the memo I wrote, and I think it's also in the resolution, we have a family of 4 And then we say anybody that has more kids, more than 4, it's $50 per kid for resident family, $65 per child for a non-resident family. So if we want to use 3, and then, $50 for each additional child as a resident, that's something to consider at this time, because it seems like, that might be the direction the trustees want to go in, or?
And just to clarify, Gina, we had talked about the age limit for the family, right? We talked both from 23 to 26, because 26 is insurance.
Yes.
Did we make a determination on that?
When Greg and I spoke, we talked about a full-time student.
Okay.
So a college-age person that is a full-time student. So we could put 26 on it, but whatever it is that they're still in school.
Trustee Kuma.
As I said, simple is better. I'm concerned also about that, because now you've got to prove you have a full-time student or not. You guys have a lot more work on your plate. So, it's work. 26 is fine, I think, as a cutoff. Most students are not full-time students. I mean, I was a full-time student forever. I was doing my PhD for years, and I could have been
You've had a lot of
assessing this, as a full-time student, but we need a cutoff, honestly. Okay. I
I'm
think
good with
26. Yeah,
23.
26 is a fine cutoff, so I would not necessarily change that. I would make that the cutoff, which is the fair kind of age. But at the same token, so is the Lombard family rate, you're saying, increases by 50 for each additional kid over 3?
I'm saying that my suggestion would be, if we were going to stop a family rate at like what it would be for 3 people, then any child more than that, we designated 50 if there was going to be more than 4. So I'm.
No, so what does Lombard do? Explain to me exactly what they do.
Lombard gave us 2 sets of fees, one for a family of 3, one for a family of 4, and it's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah,
So
but I don't know
basically, what they do is after 3 kids, your rate is plateaued. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, a plateau after you have 3 children. That's the rate I believe is the right rate for Villa Park if Lombard is doing that. But, is anybody else on board
Hey,
with that or
Gino,
not?
how about for non-residents for Lombard? Is it the same thing?
Yeah, they go up to 4.
3 is family of
and
4,
then-
it's
and
the
then-
same?
Yeah, a family of 4 and a family of 5 is, or a family of 3 and a family of 4 is the same.
Oh, okay, it's right here. Reader's
Let's
Release.
see. So
Let's see
they
if I
go
know.
from 540 for a couple to 672 for 3, 672 for 4, for non-residents.
Okay. Trustee Alfano.
So I am looking at the Lombard MAC membership rates, and the table that they have says adult, couple, and family. And it said that family includes anybody that is 23 or under, that resides in the household that is not married. That is obviously what they consider the family. And so when I'm looking at anybody who has 4 or more children, it's not comparable. And that's the one price point that I'm concerned about.
And I'm a little concerned about having the same rate for a family of 3 as a family of 6 or 7 or 8. That, more children, more people are going to cost, there's going to be a cost involved with that, wear and tear on equipment and so forth. And
I can appreciate that, but I also know that it's 12 or over, right?
For the
To
fitness
use
center.
the fitness center.
Yes.
And so if you're going to have a family of 8, the chances, at least on the early end, that you have that many kids who are
Okay.
going to be using that is
But
going to be, and then they'll age out, or they'll go to college.
Sure.
Or just get bored with it, or do it and go to high school and hang out with their friends and do that. And then you don't have that family recreation. Then you'd have like parent time to be able to do some things too.
Yeah.
Trustee Cordova.
Yeah, so we're talking about Lombard a lot, but we don't have any numbers from Lombard to say how many people from Villa Park are paying memberships over there, or Oak Brook, or Bensonville or any of these. So this is very anecdotal on people from Villa Park typically go to Lombard to sign up for that. That's what we're talking about, but we don't know that. There's no facts here. These are just anecdotal. I think this is what's happening. We don't have any data to back that. So we shouldn't make these decisions on thoughts and ideas and just good thinking. So the second piece of that is the Parks and Rec Committee has spent a tremendous amount of time in research, pulling all that data in that huge table that we have, and have come through with a very good recommendation on the hours and the fees. And they've said numerous times that this is not going to be set in stone. This is an introductory fee, and if we don't see traction or engagement, then optimizations need to happen, either lower the price or whatever it would be. If we see that we sell like gangbusters, then maybe we raise the price a little bit, but we don't know what that market is. Also, there's going to be a little bit of overlap within, if I signed up my family in June this year for, Oak Brook Terrace or Oak Brook or anywhere, what's going to end up happening is I'm not going to, sometimes they have termination fees. There's a whole lot of things that happen. So we'll have to wait a whole cycle in order to understand how people are engaging with this pricing versus any other municipality or private because they let that, their current membership lapse. So I have the full confidence in how much work you put into this, that these are great prices. I don't know why it's taken us 2 meetings to say yes to this. I know it's slowing us down on the back end, and people do want to know how much things are so they can start budgeting for 2025 and start putting those things into the line items just as any other person would have to.
Trustee Kozar.
So ultimately, I'm going to vote with the board what they decide, but I would say if you're local, if you're one of ours, if you're a resident, let's make a family 3 or more. Keep it simple. If you got 3 people, that's your family, and let's go up to 26. Let's be as inclusive for our residents. And then leave it the same how you have it for anybody who's outside of town coming in. And we can review that after a year.
Trustee Kumar.
Yeah, I feel that 3 or more fixed rate, I understand that getting people in the door is important. Nobody here is trying to delay the decision on this. We understand we want to make the decision now. We are only contemplating the price at this point. We want to make this price as reasonable as possible for our residents to get them in the door. I do not anticipate that there's going to be 23 kids and some family coming in. Honestly, we have to think about the probability of that happening. It's not very high. We only are looking 12 and over, if anything, only during the summer with kids 23 to 26. You've got, a very clear-cut parameter in terms of using the community center, getting people in the door, getting them loving our community center is a marketing technique that we need to employ here. And I think the kid issue, the $50 is not necessary at this point in this first year. Maybe we can say these are the published rates for this first year, and they are subject to change. One thing I would advise from a marketing perspective, if you say $572 to someone, it scares them. I would put it in a monthly rate and say that you sign up for a year, and that's when you're given a monthly rate of so much. It just seems more reasonable to us from a monthly perspective. If I was a family, you want to give that information out marketing-wise. And a fixed rate for families, I'm still going for that. 3 or more is fixed, and that's what I want.
You do have a ongoing monthly.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, and so even the ongoing monthly is provided that you sign up for a year. It
Correct.
shouldn't be that you just, ongoing monthly and you just drop off, because that's also something that people will think, and how is our contracting going to be? We need a pretty secure contract. I remember signing up for Bally's, and they took me for every penny I got when I was a student. So we don't want to do that in Villa Park, right? We do want to be reasonable, but at the same time, we have to contract properly.
Well, Gene, if we're gonna do that, if we're gonna do family 3 and over, you think we should increase the price then? Not go up to the family of 4, but, if we're gonna be, or like early bird 575, or the normal would be 638 4 people would be 760. You know, maybe increase that 638 if you're going to make it for a family of 4.
So when I did the breakdown, I used percentages similar to how we do with the pool passes. So I don't, if the idea is we want to get to a family of 3 and not be charging people for a whole nother person, I'm not sure that I would recommend going higher. I don't think that that's what I think what I'm hearing from the trustees is that they'd like to get to that point and know that, 4 kids or 5 kids, or 4 people or 5 people can be a part of it.
Trustee Kozar.
You are hearing what I say. Let's just leave it cheap. Let people join this year. Let them have fun. Let them see it. If you got 3 kids or you got 12 kids, God bless. But let them just join the rec center. Keep it cheap for them. Make it easy.
Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I think our Assistant Village Manager, Suzanne McVeigh, hit it on the head when she said, we want to get people excited about this new recreation center and getting them in here. However, the fees that have been presented to me for $810 for a family of 5 in Villa Park, especially possibly a low-income family, is not very exciting. So I do have some reservations about the amount that we are charging. And I do have emails from residents explaining that they are currently members at the MAC in Lombard, and that they too were excited about the new recreation center until they saw the cost of what a family of 5 would cost them. And in the email that I did receive, it clearly explains how much they are paying at the MAC. And now that they are making a decision not to transfer back over to the new rec center because it is cheaper. And it's only, 2 miles away? I think we have some challenges with what's presented here today. It doesn't mean it's impossible to get over these, and I understand that in the essence of time, this is something that we need to discuss here. But again, $810 for a family of 5 is not very exciting to low-income families that also have the right to use this facility as well. And not to mention, and we've earlier talked about, kids 12 and under. What are they going to do there? Now, I know I have this in front of me that tells me all the different times that the courts are open for kids to use or whatnot. But for kids 12 and under, we don't really have anything to offer them other than what's in that gym. If their family wants to come work out, there's nothing for them to do. So the challenge that I am asking is that we look for a solution in how we can get 12-year-olds involved in here. One of the simple solutions that I think might be is that if there is a family that is of 5 or more, is that the kids that are 12 and under, maybe the village offers them a free program throughout the year that they could use. At least that's something that they can get out of this membership. Because right now, I think there's a lot of confusion as to what are they getting for their $810. If 12-year-olds aren't able to use the workout facilities, what exactly is included with that membership? So when we go back to the original statement about how do we get people excited about this, we have to come up with a solution to make these prices more affordable, and we can't push Villa Park residents out to other municipalities when we have a brand-new building here. Now, I also would like to see, at least, I like the idea of a family of 3+ being one set price, all right? The way that the MAC does it currently right now is it's 4+. So that 5th person is with that one price. And that is lined out in that email to me from that resident as well. So we have challenges. We need to talk about this. I want to talk about programming too, but my thoughts about programming, I'll wait until you have your presentation under unfinished business with the rec center updates. But again, we need to focus on how are we going to present this and get our residents excited about going here. Right now, this isn't very exciting, especially if they don't know what they want. One of the other ideas that I had that I think would be extremely beneficial to the village is the health and wellness of our employees, of our staff. And first of all, if you go to the police station, if you go to the fire department, I mean, that equipment is subpar. It gets by. When we have a facility of this nature, why not offer all of our employees a membership to this, okay? On the house, that is something we could do. And also, I don't know how that correlates with insurance, but that's also an added benefit for our employees when we talk about that. So I would like to see some incentive for our employees, but I would also like to see some arrangement here where our residents aren't paying so much for this and they know what they're getting with that $810 of a family of 5.
If I may, so the manager and I talked about the employees and that you're barking up the right tree. That's what we've talked about, is extending the use of the facility to all the employees and for no charge, because we want a healthy staff.
Yeah.
So that's, we're on par with that. And even offering it to their spouses, but for a charge for their spouses, but offering it for free. And then if we go back to what Trustee Kumar had recommended about a family of 3, then it'll cut down the cost for a family of 5, and it wouldn't be the $800. It would be the whatever the fee for the.
I'm absolutely in favor of doing that as well and offering this to our employees. I think it is beneficial and I think it's deserved.
Agreed.
However, if I were to ask right now if we were to throw this in the mix, I can't, because I don't even know what our residents are getting for $810 a month.
I don't understand your question. I mean, the membership is to use the fitness center. Not everybody who wants to take a class or do something, they don't have to pay for the membership. The membership itself is to be able to use the fitness center. It includes the track, it includes all the open gyms, and it also includes a discount on some athletic and fitness classes. And when I say some, I mean the ones that we are able to, we hire the staff ourselves versus having it contracted.
I get that, but $810 for a family of 5 on a fixed income or low income too?
Yeah, but I think they're talking about going to, it's a family of 3 now, right?
We're going to do the family of 3, so it's not
a family of 3, so it's $638. Well,
and
you also have to make sure that you're covering your costs. I mean, there's going to be a lot of additional costs here.
And then years ago, we also had a scholarship program for folks a little bit lower income and in need. So we had a scholarship program where they can come in and get a discounted rate. They would have to provide some additional information to us, but we do have we would have the wherewithal to offer the membership at a discounted rate for those in need.
Yeah. So, as I ask again, for $810
Not $810, that's why I'm confused.
Well, according to the prices that you've listed here and you presented us, excuse me, I'm talking.
Right. I get it.
I understand what you're saying, but this is just one area.
You're saying like 5 because it would be $760 during the non-discounted time plus $50, is that?
A family of 5, if you're paying for the 4 membership, we'd have to pay $50 more. That's $810 for a family of 5.
$760 plus $50.
Right. So,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
let's put it to a family of 3 plus. Let's bring those prices down because they are not affordable. Let's make this exciting for these residents to know what they're getting. And if you're saying for that amount of money, they're only getting access to the facility, that's what our residents need to know.
That's not what I said. I said the membership fee includes the fitness center, the track, the open gyms, discounts on programs. However, you're not required to have a membership to use the building. There's some misunderstanding about that I was also hearing out there. And you don't need to, I mean, it's just like the Iowa Community Center in terms of registering for a program. You come in and register for soccer. There's no
So
There's no fees if you're not. like,
what
there's
else,
no fees if
what
you're-
else in the new building is there to offer then with that, is what I'm asking. You're saying that it only includes the facility, but you have access to the rest of the gym.
I don't,
Is that during programming? When is that?
And there's open gym time.
So it's only, so with that price, it's only when there's open gym?
Well, because if we don't have open gym, then we have a program going on in the gym. So you can't come in and use the gym if we're having a program that people are paying for, specifically for that program.
So we'll have youth basketball.
Right.
The youth basketball league will have practices in there, we'll have games on Saturdays. So of course, you won't be able to use the gym because there's a program going on. On Thursdays, we've had, for 40
Volleyball.
years, we've had women's volleyball. There's 16 teams or 16 plus. So on Thursdays, they would be using the gym. So there are certain days that are blacked out because of programming. And anytime there's open, Saturday afternoons are usually slow. All the programming is done in the morning from 9 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon, let's say. So the rest of the afternoon on Saturdays is going to be open for open gyms. Same with Sundays. Sundays, we don't normally program for. So Sundays will be all open gyms. And then during the week, it'll just be based on what programs we have, and everything else is going to be open gym.
Is there something that you're thinking of that you think should be included that is not in this package? Like, do you have an idea of something that?
Well, my main concern is the price and how high it is. And I mentioned only the family of 5, and we are talking about that now also. But we have to look at the whole kit, because in my opinion, and from the people that have reached out to me on this, they are not excited about this new rec center based on those prices. They know what they're getting at the MAC. They don't know what we're getting here, other than what you say is the exercise facility. And
Gina, go ahead, finish, sorry.
Go ahead.
What do you get at the MAC for when you sign up?
My understanding, because we called and we also talked with staff there, and you're registering for the membership, for their fitness center, and then some of the other amenities that the building has. Now, that particular building is just an athletic center. So they have more gym space, they have more open gym time, they have, that there is the difference, because the Villa Park Recreation Center is going to house all of our programs, not just the athletic programs. So there's classrooms there and so forth. So I believe, in theory, what they get at the MAC is the same as what we're offering in Villa Park, but they just have more of it because the building isn't used for anything other than athletics. So there's more opportunity there. That is true.
never mind.
Okay. Trustee Kumar.
I think the discussion came down to a price of $638 for a family of 3 or more. Am I correct? Is that what you were?
I thought that's where we were at. yeah.
We're at. And that includes the gym, the membership, and it's for anyone 12 to 26, correct?
We didn't necessarily decide on the age. I was thinking 23,
Yeah.
just because typically college, you're 18 plus 4 is 22, so a full-time student for 5 years would be.
23 is more the standard.
Yeah, that's.
Okay,
But-
okay,
but-
12 to 23 then,
Period.
okay. So till age 23, which is similar to what Lombard has right now. So under 23, you would be included. Above 23, I can go with that. So that's the age and that's the pricing that we're discussing now. And the early bird pricing would be $575 still, correct? For that group of anybody 3 and older, a family of 3 or more, correct?
Unless you want to raise the family of 3 to a higher number, but the way it's now, it would be $575 for a family of 3 to through January 15th. And then on January 16th, it goes up to the regular.
6:38.
Yes.
Okay, so that is what we're proposing at this point. And I do agree that we have to discuss a little bit about what our programming is. But I would be willing to vote for this as stated right now, after we discuss our programming at the end of this, if possible. Is that possible? I need to ask our legal advisor.
No, because this is strictly for the rates. This resolution is strictly for the rates.
Rates and hours.
Okay.
Yeah, programming is here only as discussion, under new business.
Which we talked about at the last meeting, so I'm not sure what new information you're looking for, other than the information I provided 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Trustee Alfano.
Is it possible to make a motion then for a 6:38 charge for a family of 3 or more for ages 23 and under, and a 5:30 open? And an early bird cost for the family would be $5.75.
Okay.
The other would be to remove the $50 for each additional family member for residents.
What about for non-residents?
And the 23.
Yeah, it would be
Correct, that's
up
what
to
I believe.
23.
Yeah, I put 23 and under.
And then would you, to keep the non-resident structure as couple, family 3, family 4, but do you want the $50 per person additional for non-residents?
It was 65 if the
If
resident
right,
has
sorry.
50, so just,
I would like to keep it as 50 for non-residents, if possible. Just keep it a little lower, but I'm fine with the,
Yeah,
if you're
not-
bringing all your kids from elsewhere, $50 per child rate.
family of
for non-
3 for non-residents, and then $50 for each
Additional child.
So then we need a motion to amend.
Okay.
And $50.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's a motion for start time at 5:30, for keeping it as a family, anyone of 3 and over for 6:38, 575 for early bird. No extra for each individual. So if you have more than 3, there's not the $50
For residents.
just for residents. And then keeping it as is, except for instead of 65, $50 for non-residents for extras.
And then opening at 5:30.
And opening,
23
yeah.
and under.
Okay? We have a second for that.
And a 23 under.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be 12 to 23. Trustee Cordova.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. Clerk Kornecki. So actually, do we need a, we already motioned on that? Do we
This
just have
is
to
a
motion?
motion to amend.
Just to amend, and then we have to vote on that,
resolution,
yeah. Okay, so motion, vote for motion, for the amending of the resolution. Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes, okay, so now, the motion was already made, so do we have any more discussion on this? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, so this is for the revised resolution, the amended resolution? Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Patrick.
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes, okay, so we're all set. Thanks, Gina. Thanks, Greg. Okay, unfinished business, 15A is flag status. Flag's up and lit, and everything looks good, thanks to Greg and his staff. Brian, no, Brian's not here. I'll say, yeah, Brian, thanks to him and his staff, too. Villa Park Rec updates. Do you have-
I don't have a construction update. The programs I listed last time I was here, I read through many of them, but not all of them. We have started interviewing people for the front desk, as well as some people have contacted us about personal training and so forth. So that's something that we're enthusiastic about, but, I would love to answer any questions you might have regarding programming, or,
Okay. Trustee Cordova.
yes.
Just for clarification, if I wanted to go and get a personal trainer or take a pickleball lesson class or learn chess or learn pasta making, do I have to pay for a membership in order to take those programming?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And how about jazzercise?
Jazzercise is a hot topic. When we started working with them 2 years ago, we were hopeful that they would be able to move with us. But when we downsized the building, I can't accommodate their schedule, and their schedule is very specific. And I don't want, it kills me to not be able to work with them, because I do like working with them very much. But they're very regimented with their times. I could accommodate the morning, but I can't accommodate the evening. So they're looking
Okay.
elsewhere.
Okay, sure, thanks.
I think it's important to note that Jazzercise is a private company that has been primarily operating out of our facility because we had the space and ability to allow them to. So we've been working with them to try and provide space in the rec center, but we also have to focus on adding our programs that are coordinated and run by the village in addition to working with other providers. So we're, more than happy to welcome Jazzercise in some capacity. We just cannot allow them to operate their hours and schedule, as a private business and meet the demand for the programs that we want to provide. So we just want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
special relationship with them
Right.
dating back years and years, and they had used the other building for a while, and we were, certainly interested and excited to work with them again, but we can't accommodate their times.
I understand, yeah, thanks. Trustee Kumar?
Along that same lines, since you asked about jazzercise, it's one thing you're doing. There's other options that are similar, I assume, in terms of, what would you say are some similar options for people to choose if jazzercise is no longer offered that you're going to provide as a part of this community center?
Yeah, so we'll have a group exercise class. Greg said aerobics. There's several different classes that we will have a set schedule for. We would have liked to have made those classes part of the membership, but we need to make sure we have a following first, and we're not paying someone to be there if there's only, 1 or 2 people showing up. So that's something that we would like to possibly change in the future. But yes, we'll have Pilates, we'll have other group fitness classes that would compare with jazzercise.
Yeah, Trustee Kumar?
What is our possibility to discount for something like that in a certain, like a small portion for those who have membership?
I had written into the resolution 10% off of some athletic and some fitness.
Okay.
And I was vague because if it's a class that we actually hire the instructor that we pay an hourly rate to, no problem, we can include it. If it's a contractor where we're paying, the contractor is getting 70% or 80% of the registration that's coming in, then reducing it by 10% is not something that can happen.
So when you publish the book, I assume that you will publish the classes that you get a 10% discount on if you have membership, and then you will publish that you don't get membership, you don't get this discount on a particular class because this is a contracted class, so on and so forth, in a clear fashion. That's all I'm
I would
asking.
likely advertise which classes include the discount.
Okay, that's good to
Instead
know.
of which ones don't.
Okay,
Someone could ask if they.
yeah.
Okay. Trustee Patrick?
Thank you. When we're referring to the catalog book that is published by Parks and Recreation, what goes into determining what programs the rec center is going to put into that program that we're offering? Who makes those decisions, who makes the suggestions, and who ultimately gives the okay to publish it?
The village manager ultimately gives the okay to publish it. In terms of the classes that go in, we meet as a staff. Greg participates in that, as well as the program supervisors. We look to trends to see what's going on in other communities and what's popular. And then, of course, for example, we have martial arts that has been with us for a long time and is very popular, continues its popularity, so we would continue to offer that, even though it's been around for a while.
Of the programs of the entire last year that were published in a book like that, can you tell me how many of those programs that were offered were either canceled or because of lack of attendance?
You know, I don't have that with me right now, but I could provide that for you.
We have, that's a great question, because we do provide that information to the commission. We just don't have those numbers, so we can get those to you.
You're looking for annually?
Yeah, I would like to know how many programs the village offers that are ultimately canceled.
I know we have close to 1,200 program offerings annually that we offer. We'll have to put together the numbers on which was canceled. And Trustee Patrick, you asked about, how do we come up with some of the programs. Some people have a skill or a special interest that they like to teach, and they'll call us and, hey, I'm a birder, so we'll bring them in, talk to them, see what they want to offer and what skills they have and what their background is, and we'll offer the program if it's a good
Bob
program.
Wagner contacted us about, cycling. We offered that a couple times. I think the first time, or first and second time, it had low turnout, but the last time we ended up having, a full class for that. So it just, if people come to us and say, hey, I like to do this, and, I think this could be something that residents would enjoy, we'll talk about it as a staff. And we just had, I'll give you a great example, we just had a couple contact us about doing a 3-on-3, like a Gus Macker tournament. So we're meeting with them next week to talk about the possibility of doing that, and what will be included, like in another event, or would it stand alone? So,
Could you explain the process for residents if they see the book and they like a program that they're interested in? What's the process for signing up for that?
well, you can come into the building and sign up, or you can get an online account and do it right from your home, if you can do it from your computer.
And what's the village's communication look like in that process?
Yeah, they contact us. They can do it through email and say, I'd like an online account, and we respond, and usually the same day, if it's late in the day, it might be the next day, with information on what their username and password is to start.
Okay, so if there are any hiccups along the way where a program that has been offered, that has been signed up for and paid, is then canceled, what does the resident have to do in that situation?
In that case, if somebody signs up and they pay for the class and the village cancels it due to low enrollment, we automatically will issue a refund or a credit. We normally will ask what they prefer, but if
They'll contact people, too. You'll contact those.
Oh, I thought you meant, like, they don't have to ask for the refund, we just provide it.
In what time frame?
It depends how they paid. A credit card is pretty quickly. If they pay with a check or cash, that takes a little bit more time, but the finance department, it really has it down to a science now, and normally people get their refund within 2 weeks.
What's the communication look like between the village and the resident when a class is canceled or there is low enrollment?
We call them,
You call them.
and we email.
In what time frame?
As soon as the class is canceled, we do that, because we try to wait, as close to when the class is supposed to start to see if we can get more people, but, yeah, I mean, it could be 3 days before the class is supposed to start.
3 days before the classes start.
Yeah, that would be the latest it would be.
What would you say is an acceptable amount of time to respond to a resident whose class got canceled?
Well, we respond as quickly as the class is canceled. So if the program supervisor says the class is canceled, then that day, people start emailing and making calls. So maybe it could be 2 days before.
2 days before.
Yeah.
My next question then is also, how many of the programs that we're offering that have been published are outsourced to other communities? For example, if someone signs up for a program through our Villa Park catalog, how many programs send them to another municipality like Lombard to partake in that program?
So we have cooperative relationships with the park districts, or I think it's all park districts at this point. We work with Oak Brook Terrace. We do senior trips with them because they have a big bus and we have a smaller bus. We work with Lombard, and some of the classes are held in Lombard and some of the classes are held in Villa Park. We share a magic teacher, so sometimes he teaches in Lombard and sometimes he teaches here, and we work together. So when we have situations like that, when we can work with another park district, the likelihood of the class canceling is much smaller because we don't need as many people to have enough for it to go, because we're sharing that with another agency.
I think it's important, especially moving forward with the new recreation center, that we're offering programs that attract people to Villa Park rather than push them out of Villa Park. I understand what you're saying there. There are some instances, even personal experiences here with programming that aren't adding up necessarily. And I believe that we need to owe our residents more timely answers in that. For example, my kids are heavily involved in sports in here, whether it be the Villa Park Junior Warriors basketball, football, whether it be Villa Park Youth baseball, what have you. Two of my kids are very interested in those sports. My youngest, however, isn't so interested in that. But he wanted to get excited about something, and he found the fencing program that was offered in that book that we talked about that was published. And we had signed up, and for weeks, he was super excited about trying something new, trying to do fencing. The first day of this class was Sunday, this last Sunday, at Knollcrest in Lombard off of Finley Road. When we got there, we spoke to the instructor. We got there early to watch the more advanced kids. And when we had gotten there and waited until that class ended, when ours was supposed to happen, the instructor of that course specifically asked us, "Why are you here?" "Well, we're here for the beginner fencing course." And she says, there's low enrollment. That class was canceled. So what I'm getting at is that we did not get any communication from the village about low enrollment or anybody canceling that. And we paid money out of our pockets, and it's been longer than the 3 days that you said that the village would give that back. We've been waiting for some sort of response and haven't gotten that either. Earlier today in our public comments, we had somebody even come up here, talk about the village's response and timing with how we communicate with our public. This is so important, especially when it comes to the new rec center and all the programs that we are trying to offer to attract people to us in our building. That's part of that being excited about this new rec center that we have to do here. But now that class is canceled, my young kid is crying because he can't do fencing. This is an issue, and nobody has contacted us from the village regarding this about when we're going to get our money back or why the class was canceled to begin with. So I can't be the only resident that's experiencing this, and that's why I'm asking for more data regarding how many programs that are offered in that book are either canceled or not offered at the end of the day. That's all I have. Thank you.
Gina, were you aware that the class was canceled?
No, but it's not unusual that I wouldn't,
Yeah.
be aware that that particular class was canceled.
Because
But I will look
that was
into
an
it.
outside, obviously not at Villa Park, but it was.
But if you
was it-
registered at Villa Park,
Yeah.
then you should be communicated with, and that bothers me.
I'm just trying to reiterate not only my experiences, but what I'm hearing from other families that have had similar issues. Listen, we get a chance to start new with this new building. It is a great building. It's long been in the works. I'm excited that it's here. And to the point that the assistant village manager made earlier is that we want to get people excited about this. But we have to overcome some of these challenges and these hurdles, especially when it comes to communication. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
I think the blessing is that with the excitement, that we may not have to go to a cooperative with Lombard. Sometimes with cooperatives are kind of tough with the communication, where if it was offered through Lombard and we had a cooperative, and I'm not blaming Lombard, but sometimes there's no communication, well, hey, this class has been canceled, maybe staff didn't know. So we're really excited that, you know, with the fencing class, if we offer that, it'll be in our facility, and we'll attract more people, and we have more control over that.
Trustee O'Fonnell.
Thank you. I think, I know I've had some personal experiences too when my child was young, and I won't go into it because we've gotten over those. However, I do think that the important part is this fresh start idea. I think we do have this new building. We're talking about marketing, we're talking about getting people in, but I also think that the marketing is like, it's gonna be different. Because there are some people who haven't had really positive experiences, and they do seek to go elsewhere only because of those experiences where they're kind of left feeling defeated, and not by anybody, it's not anybody's fault. It's just they feel defeated. And so when you're sitting there with a toddler who's crying, who expected to do something, they're like, you know what, we just can't keep doing this. So they find something different to do. And I think that the fresh start idea is just the fantastic mindset that we need to have collectively. So thank you for keeping that in mind as you're programming.
Trustee Kumar.
One thing I want to say about canceled programming and so on and so forth, as we internalize more of these, one suggestion for programming, as was with the fencing class, when my daughter took Taekwondo for years and years, and she took it at Lombard actually, for years and years she was in Taekwondo, she comes back and still takes it there. What they do is they consolidate classes into one if they're teaching at multiple levels. They can teach for kids and adults at the same time. Something like fencing, they can consolidate. And as we go to a system where we have our own space, I think that would be an available option. Roll them into another class. Now, to do that, you need to have enough information to say, if you are not in this class, this is a possibility for you. That statement has to be made to what else can you take at that time? What else could you do at that time to keep your child happy? These are your possibilities. It's not easy to do. It's a lot of work for staff, but it's something that needs to be out there to a certain extent. Because sometimes, honestly speaking, people put their kids in classes because they need that time for themselves to exercise, do something else. And if you take away that option of a class, now they're stuck not being able to do that and not take care of their kids. So that cancellation can be a tremendous issue. So we need to automatically shoot out, okay, I'm sorry this happened to you. We're sorry as a thing. We really think these are your other options. That has to go out to the public right away.
We do that a lot
Yep.
with dance classes.
Right.
We'll combine.
You know, especially with the, different levels of ballet and tap.
And I think you can, as we get, now that we have this community center, I know Iowa had its issues in terms of spacing, possibilities. We have a lot more possibilities now in terms of this community center in general. So that is going to help with that aspect. I know martial arts, they oftentimes can move people up. They put like the adult class with the teenage class, because a lot of times you don't have enough teenagers at the high school level, so they kind of squeeze those together. So talking to your instructors about the possibility of rolling classes into each other in case the enrollment doesn't meet, upfront with the instruction that you may get kids and what can you teach, how can you do that, I think is important when we hire.
Appreciate that. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thanks, Gino. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate all your time. Okay, new business. Item 16A is discussion of Village Board Trustees Rules of Order and Procedures. Manager McVeigh.
So at the request of Trustee Kozar, this was placed on the agenda following our last board meeting. In particular, I know there was questions about the ability to remove agenda items. Unfortunately, Counselor Wolf is not here today, and so she would be able to provide a little bit more guidance on that. If we wanted to have additional discussion, we can certainly talk about it next time when Melissa is also available. Generally, our rules of order do not prohibit the village president from removing something from the agenda as he sees fit, but that does not preclude the trustee's ability to add things to the agenda as you have. In this particular instance, it delayed it to the next meeting. So we can certainly talk about it further as the board would like.
Yeah, as Assistant Manager McVeigh said, Attorney Wolf had, I think, a presentation that she was going to talk about, but
That's
I
my
don't think it was,
understanding.
yeah.
She was doing research into it. So.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to continue talking about it or wait until next meeting to really fully discuss it, because she'll be able to answer questions.
Yeah, I'd like to discuss it.
Sure.
So, I know you say that Attorney Wolf had a presentation. At the last meeting, in my trustee comments, I asked Attorney Wolf to cite for me the provisions of our code that supported her position. She failed to do that. 2 weeks she had to do that. She chose not to do that. So I wanted this on the agenda because all sorts of nonsense happened at the last meeting. And the characterization that Assistant Manager McVeigh just said was factually incorrect. So this needs to be clarified. And if you want to bring it up again next meeting and talk about it, great. And we can talk about the code, Robert's Rules of Order, the agreement that we've made in our, what are we calling them? The trustee rules and procedure. We can bring that up every single meeting if that's what we have to do until we get it right. So in the last meeting, just to recap, President Kazone unilaterally took something off the agenda that the board requested to have on the agenda by motion in a previous meeting. So we look at the code. What does the code allow for? The relevant code here is section 2-406 of the Villa Park Code. So in subsection B, it lists the order of the village board agenda that we see here on the agenda every couple weeks, including item number 3, which is the amendments to the agenda. This is the time where any changes to the agenda must occur, or else the agenda is approved as posted. Subsection D of that code reads, and I quote, "At the time of consideration of approval of the agenda, upon passage of a motion by a majority of a quorum present, the agenda may be amended to add or delete specific items." So the agenda is posted, was posted. No motion was made contrary to our Villa Park Code. No motion was voted on by a quorum of board members present, contrary to our village code. Yet the agenda was amended unilaterally by our village president against section 2-406 subsection D of the Villa Park Code. There is nothing in the Villa Park Code that gives the Villa Park president the authority to remove items from a posted agenda. Period. That's it. So the reason I wanted this on the agenda today is I want to remind our village president to follow the code. He cannot act unilaterally against our code. Period. That's it. And I don't want to see this happen again. I worked to get our rules of order and procedure discussed by this board and agreed to by this board, and we all made an agreement that we would follow those. And if we all make an agreement to follow that, there's a certain amount of respect that we're giving to one another sitting here on the board. And that respect and that trust is broken when the village president unilaterally decides to do something different. I will remind the village president that we are citizens and not subjects. So that's why I wanted it on. And if we want to have another discussion about this next week, when Attorney Wolf is here, let's do it. And let's talk about this until we get it right.
Okay, well, I don't need a reminder that the board is our residents. I'm very well aware of that. I'm very well aware they're citizens of the United States. I was going by the advice of counsel, who told me I was able to do that, and she was going on what her opinion was. Now, whether it's against our ordinances, that's part of what she was going to discuss at tonight's meeting. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it because of a family matter, so we can definitely bring this up next meeting, and she will be here with her opinion on why she thought that I had that authority. So we can do that. I don't think there's much reason to discuss anything else now, unless you do. But that's the reason I did what I did, and I was advised on it, so. It's not anything against residents or citizens or anything, it's just what I was told by our attorney. And I trust her, because I think she's a very good attorney. Anyone else would like to bring anything up? Okay. Item B, Villa Park Recreation Center, proposed text amendment to Villa Park zoning ordinance regarding signs in R zoning districts. Andrew McVeigh.
In order to allow for the appropriate signage at the new Villa Park Recreation Center, which is located in a residential zoning district, the village requires a text amendment to section 8.5 entitled Signs in Our Zoning Districts of the village's zoning ordinance. The proposed text amendment will allow public, civic, and institutional uses that are located in residential zoning districts with an approved special use permit, a maximum of one wall sign per building entrance located or leading to a lobby or other common area, and a maximum of one monument sign per street frontage, subject to the applicable regulations set forth in the zoning ordinance for such signs in non-residential zoning districts. Village staff is seeking the board's direction and authorization to proceed with a petition before the village's Planning and Zoning Commission regarding the requested text amendment. And obviously, Director McLaughlin, I'm sure would love to talk more about it if you have any questions.
Good evening, yes.
You want to just give a few?
Absolutely. So as you know, VPRC is a public, civic, or institutional building with a special use in a R residential zoning district. So in our code currently, there's provisions for an electronic message display, which is traditionally allowed in commercial districts, to have the right to be asked for in an R district if you are a public, civic, or institutional district. Use. What was missed is that a wall sign or a regular monument sign, non-EMC, didn't get the same provisions. And so that if you are a public, civic, or institutional use, big building, big wall, you are restricted to the regular R district standards of 32 square feet. And so you can imagine what 32 square feet would look like on the building that's out there physically right now. So we're proposing a text amendment that mirrors what was allowed for the EMCs, that says if you are a public, civic, or institutional use with the special use that says you have the right to be there, you are allowed to have appropriately sized signage use the calculations of our regular commercial districts. We have noticed for the November 14th Planning and Zoning Commission, because we had to do that on Friday, but we wanted to put this as a, hey, this is coming up conversation. As you know, we have to buy those signs. And if the text amendment doesn't get passed, we're not buying the signs that have been designed. So, open for discussion.
Okay. A quick question.
Yeah.
Why is it zoned R, and would it be better to zone it, to change the zoning?
So yeah, everything along to the west is already R. It has been traditionally in R. Parks are an allowed special use in an R district. Government uses are an allowed special use in an R district. Changing it to a commercial underlining district then gives you all the rights of a commercial district as well. So you actually would like it to be in the more restrictive underlying zoning with then the special use for what you're actually doing. Remember, this actually has 3 special uses approved for it: government, community facility, and parks and recreation. So all 3 of those are approved, and they're all listed under the public, civic, and institutional uses.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Trustee Kumar.
I value all your input with regards to this particular issue and the correcting of our code and the careful way you are constructing continually updating our codes to meet our standards as well as protecting our village.
Okay, any other questions? Do we need a consensus on this, or would you like
Melissa, Attorney Melissa Wolf had asked for consensus. If you are comfortable doing that, if it goes appropriately, we will then come forward with that ordinance after the planning and zoning has their public hearing on it, with any additional feedback from them, so that once you guys approve that, we're buying the signs. So it's a time crunch issue.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay, Clerk Kornecki, can we get a consensus on having staff go ahead with the text amendments to the zoning?
Okay. Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
President Casal?
Yes. Okay, item C is improvements to the High Ridge Baseball Field in cooperation with the Villa Park Youth Baseball Association. Manager McVeigh.
Staff seeks direction on how to proceed with a plan to improve High Ridge Baseball Field in cooperation with the Villa Park Youth Baseball Association. Staff from Parks and Recreation have held conversations with VP YBA on ways to improve High Ridge Field, and we support the project. Since the land is village property, it would work better if the village entered into agreement with Sportsfield Inc. This would make insurance and other requirements easier to enforce and would protect VP YBA from any issues with unfinished work or liability. Staff recommends having a resolution and agreement drafted in cooperation with VBYBA to hire Sportsfield of Alsip, Illinois, to conduct improvements on High Ridge Baseball Field. Director Gola, I know, has been working extensively with it. We are fully in support of moving forward, and I know the school district has a similar, but is allowing the Youth Baseball Association to do the work as opposed to us wanting to be the to contract with Sportsfield. So that's the primary difference between the two. But we're, I think, very pleased and happy to move forward.
Okay. Director Gola, do you want to say anything, or?
Thank you. Rocco Cafano's here as well, and we've had some meetings. Youth Baseball wants to chip in and help out and do some renovations along with us, and we wholeheartedly like to work with them. And I don't know if Rocco has anything to say, but I think it's a good relationship that we're forming, and we appreciate all the help from Villa Park Youth Baseball.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any question? Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. I would like to hear from the president of Villa Park Youth Baseball as to what's being proposed and asked of the village board.
Rocco Cafano, Villa Park Youth Baseball. On behalf of the members, I did want to thank Greg Gola, Matt Harline, and Brian Roche for sitting down with us. At first, when we presented the price, it seemed a little overwhelming, but then we added in that we've been fundraising for a very long time, and we want to donate our funds to this project. So as far as what the village is responsible for, High Ridge is the main focus here, but we do want to let you know that it is more like $27,450 that we're donating for also 2 Jefferson Fields as well, knowing that is not necessarily the ownership of Villa Park, but in the past with the agreement, it would have been under the jurisdiction of the village to help with that project if we were to resurface those fields as well. So As far as Sports Field Incorporated goes, they've been around for 40-plus years. They've done Chicago Bears, they've done Mount Carmel High School, Oak Lawn, several park districts. So we did a lot of research. They were middle ground as far as price, but as far as respectability and what we needed them to do, they're going to do a good job. They're going to bring in several different machines, get all the rocks out, resurface the material, lay down new material, and then they grade it, which is great. And then it will really be sustainable for another 5 to 10 years. We'd like to do this with every one of the Villa Park fields, but this was the first project that we got funding for, 2 Jeffersons and High Ridge as a package of $27,450. So we are aware that we do not own the field, so we needed the permission from the village to do that. And if we need to allow them to sign it, that's fine, as long as we get a receipt in return. Whatever gets it done, we're hoping that, I just got off the phone with Sports Fields today, and they said that they're going to try to get it done before winter hits, but it all depends on how much warm weather there is. That's assuming we are able to get a contract signed in time. He said worst case scenario, we could first to go in April for the start of our 2025 season.
Good, thank you. Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. So just to clarify really quick here, Villa Park Youth Baseball, 501c3 here in town, it's been around for quite some time, is looking to spend roughly $26,000 of their own money to help repair the fields that Village and District 45 owns. But in return, we're asking to waive your $9,000 fee for the for your annual fees for having the league in Villa Park.
I mean, that was a side note. I believe it was an email that was sent out. We would definitely be inviting to you know, taking a discount on that. We are aware that even though we've simplified and streamlined the maintenance from the village, where we ask them to do less, they are still using a lot of man hours. They're using their equipment. So we are going to have to pay on a continual basis. But yeah, this is a big project, and if there could be a discount for 2024, we did to streamline this new maintenance program. We line the fields, they drag it. So we did have to tool up this year to make it happen. So we probably already spent about $15,000 just to get chalk liners and rakes and everything that it took. We built a shed on Jefferson. We also have the approval to build a shed on Jackson's. Possibly maybe High Ridge in the future. So yeah, I mean, anything we can get. We're trying to make it be a good agreement where we don't weigh on the village and the community, but we do want to improve the community. These baseball fields, the biggest comment I've heard Kevin Patrick talk about, the comparison to Lombard. Yes, we stay competitive with our prices with Lombard. We're always looking at Lombard, but the biggest complaint is Lombard's fields are better. So this is the process. If we can get this done, this is step one. Step two would be then Jackson's and Twin Lakes and so on and so forth. So
I would just like to say that over the last couple of years, it's evident that the Villa Park Youth Baseball League has been expanding and has been doing, in my opinion, an outstanding job of revamping a program that probably could have used a little bit more help over the years. I have seen your investment into the Villa Park Youth Baseball League, as well as over the last couple of years, the parents and everybody else giving their fair share and helping out to help build this program to something that it could have once been and what we hope it to be. I would ask that the board strongly consider waiving the $9,000 that Villa Park Youth Baseball owes for the 2024 season to help kind of offset the cost that they're spending, the $26,000 to improve these fields. I don't think that we could do that at this meeting, but that's something that I think at our next meeting, on our next agenda, might be something that we can consider waiving for the Youth Baseball League. And again, if you haven't seen this league in the last couple of years, they have revamped it. It is growing. And we've had a long, rich history of Villa Park Youth Baseball. You said 62 years?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've gained an extra 150 players just this year, so we're continuing to growth, and we've already got 3 teams signed up for softball program that did fall apart with the wayside with the previous administration, so.
And super excited
Yeah.
for the new rec center field to get underway as well for Villa Park Youth Baseball, to start utilizing that as well.
Yes.
So in my opinion, I think if Villa Park Youth Baseball is dishing out all of this money as a 501c3 organization that they are, that it's perfectly fine and reasonable to waive the $9,000 fee to offset that cost in 2024. And that's what I'm requesting of the village. Thank you.
Trustee Kozar.
I would support that. I think you guys are doing a really good job. I'm glad to hear that you got 26,000 in funds that you've raised. I'd like to see the village waive that 9,000, and I'd like you to take that 9,000 and keep it in the account for the next one that you do.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Trustee Kumar.
I would also be in favor of waiving the 9,000 for this given year. I understand the cost of running these programs, the difficulty and the greatness with which you are addressing many of the things that we need in Villa Park. I know youth baseball is, pretty much in the minds of lots of my friends and families. They're all participating in it, and it's really taken off. So thank you for all your efforts for Villa Park in the process.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was, opening day was pretty impressive. You had a lot of people out there. It was
Yeah,
really
we wanted,
nice.
we like to have fun with it. I mean, it can't
Yeah.
just be all stress, and I imagine you guys are the same way. Constant business and decisions you got to make, but you got to have fun with it. So we appreciate you
Absolutely.
coming out, and we want to continue and make it fun for everybody.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
That $50,000 Toro Sand Pro 5040 that we purchased, or that we approved in October, that's for this too, correct?
I'm gonna defer now.
Director Gola will address it.
Yes, thank you, trustee Cordova. Yeah, that we do a lot of field prep before youth baseball gets on there to drag. We also use it for when, on rainy days, we turn the fields over in the morning and come back and drag them in the afternoon. So yeah, that would be used for that.
Perfect. So I'm only saying, yes, let's waive that 9,000, yes, but I don't want it to seem like we're not doing anything. I remember making a comment about it because I read about it when I saw it. I'm like, what is this thing? This is specifically for the baseball field. So it's, I have seen Lombard. I've seen a bunch of different baseball fields as we've kind of traveled around a little bit as well. So yeah, yes, absolutely. Let's waive that. And then let's continue to understand that we are all kind of putting into this together, because I know that this Toro Sand Pro 5040 is the top of the line on baseball maintenance and field maintenance and things like that. So we should be at a really good spot to build and then maintain and continue growing. So yeah, that's great.
If it saves us some man hours as well, we keep track of all of our man hours, and we talk to youth baseball about it and where we're at, and so hopefully it'll save us some time as well. And we had talked about when the youth baseball approached us about doing the fields, and we thought it was a great idea, and that was one of the discussions, is to waive the fees that they owed us, because it's just going right back into the program. So we appreciate
Yeah,
it.
and a comment that Toro Dragger, what that's going to do is, that's money well spent. When we spend the money for sports fields, and you're gonna know that that's going to last even longer, because you're dragging it properly. So yeah, I 100% appreciate it.
Awesome.
Okay, good. Yeah, can we get a consensus on this? It'll be coming up, I would imagine,
Next one?
for the next meeting?
I'll check with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll be coming up to waive the $9,000 fee for 2025. Clerk Konecki.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
President Cusone?
Yes. Good luck to you guys next year. Okay, item 17 are village commission reports. Acceptance of the Community Fund Commission, August 27, 2024, and September 24th, 2024, regular meeting minutes, and the September 10th, 2024, special meeting minutes. Acceptance of the minutes of the Video Production Commission meeting of August 14th, 2024. Acceptance of the Environmental Concerns Commission's Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit minutes of the July 25th, 2024 meeting, and acceptance of the Environmental Concerns Commission minutes of the August 22nd, 2024 meeting. and those are all in the packet this evening. Item 18, Village Clerk's Report.
No report today, thank
Okay,
you.
Village Trustees, we will start on my right. Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everybody. First of all, I want to start off by giving a shout out to all the veterans that showed up to our meeting tonight to voice their opinions and show their support for the VFW. It was really good seeing you out there, so thank you for coming tonight. And kind of with that being said, I just want to remind the residents that as an elected representative of Village of Villa Park, it is our duty to be accessible to you and to hear you and be that platform for you to voice your opinions and your concerns. And as an elected official, I hope all of us up here feel the same way about this, is that we should always be accessible to our residents, to the residents in our community. If you ever need to get a hold of me or voice your concerns, my email is kevinpatrick@invillapark.com, and I look forward to your emails. Thank you. Trustee Patrick. Trustee Patrick at invillapark.com.
Trustee Cordova.
Two things. Number one, daylight savings on November 3rd. I know that's a generic announcement, but I always like to think about daylight savings time as well as checking your fire and smoke detectors, carbon monoxide, air filters, the whole thing. The second thing is, as accessible as we are, we should have the opportunity to speak to our constituents' emails and correspondence. I've gotten a tremendous amount of emails and through my Facebook page and through my website, just people reaching out about a liquor license or Parks and Rec or whatever it would be. I think it would behoove us to have those conversations so that when we have a motion that comes, and a conversation typically happens after a motion, we don't let it die. That's what happened tonight. We have a business that's looking to get a license here in town, and we didn't even give the opportunity to voice people's issues or emails or people flagging us down at football games. We didn't get to have a voice for our residents, and I apologize for that. I made the motion, nobody wanted to second it, so it dies. That's what happens up here. That's what happened today. And as much as we like to hear about wanting to have conversations or speaking to our constituents or whatever it would be, one of my issues is not having or being able to give that dialogue to or give that voice to the board. So hopefully, I know we've had it done twice this year, maybe in the last 2 years, but I feel like we missed an opportunity today to do exactly what we're asking people to do, is to reach out to us so we can voice our concerns, but we can't voice our concerns unless we bring it to a conversation. So that's all I had.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Kozar.
I have no report.
Okay, Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. I want to thank Vincent Davis, our newest video production commissioner, for volunteering the talent and the time to the village. Our commissions don't run without our volunteers, so thank you for stepping up and volunteering. Coffee with the board is this Saturday at 9 a.m. Come and talk to us. There are typically 2 or 3 of us here. We are consistent, we are here to listen, and we have heard concerns. So we don't just have to listen to the emails or catch us at a PTA meeting. You can come and talk to us and have your opinions heard and recorded into public record as well. Also, it is starting to get cold. The DuPage County has the Call 211 of DuPage County, where you can call and text. It has a number of services that they provide, and they could connect you to if you are ever in need of housing and utilities or disaster relief, food, shelter, transportation, clothing, personal items. Just know that that's out there. Thank you very much.
Okay, Trustee Kumar.
A couple of things. I would have seconded the motion. I do agree with Trustee Cordova that we should second the motions and make our discussions happen in the public forum. However, I would like Attorney Wolf present when I have this discussion, and this was my reason for not seconding that particular motion on this particular day. So it will come to be seconded at the next meeting. Hopefully she is there. That being said, I also want to say that It is October 31st is Halloween. I want the kids out there and getting candy when they should. 3 to 8 is our time to come and get candy from those houses which have things out and are willing to give it. But please don't knock on doors of people who don't want to be addressed in that timing. But there are some beautiful, beautiful houses in Villa Park right now who seem to be so Halloween friendly. Our town is lit up. If you see, there are some gorgeous houses. I'm waiting for the Fun Commission presentation on the best houses for Halloween. We really have gone over and above in terms of Halloween decorations. It makes me super happy to see that. It makes me super embarrassed that this year I have nothing out there. I will get my pumpkin out, and I do want to see the children come for Halloween. I will sneak out there and give them candy in between my class if I have to. So that's where I'm at. Remember, 3 to 8. Remember also safety. Take your candy home, children. Have your parents check it. We are really concerned about the health and safety. I know our police officers and our first responders are always out there. They're super helpful at this time during Halloween, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart. On all 4 years I've been here, they've been great every single year with regards to being out there during Halloween hours and just keeping an eye on our children. So thank you for that as well. So be ready. Halloween's coming around the corner. Kids have fun. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Village President's Report. I have a few items. This past weekend was actually very busy. Two-page managers and mayors, we had coffee with the mayors, and it's generally a lot of good discussion about issues that are all of the towns and localities close by are facing. One of the things we did discuss, though, is there's a lot of issues that are downstate that our reps and our state senators need to hear from residents. So if you get a chance, if there's an issue that you'd like to see taken care of, don't be afraid to email or call our representative, our state representative, Diane Blair Sherlock, or our state senator, Susie Glowiak Hilton. They're both very approachable. Issues like the LGDF, the Local Government Distributive Fund, which is a huge issue that no one knows about. It's large dollars that could be coming back to the villages, so something to think about. There was a ribbon cutting at the Old Globe on Ardmore on Saturday. The Chamber of Commerce had a nice event there, so it's a great little shop if you like antiques. And the owners are really nice to their residents and very helpful. And the Villa Avenue businesses had their trick-or-treating on Saturday. Chief Stapleton, myself, and Dave Casey, the owner of Mike's Meat Market, were able to judge the costume contest. I don't know about you, Chief, but it gets harder and harder every year. The costumes are more, they're cleverer and they're funny and they're really good. And you hate to see some of the little kids that they're crying because they didn't win, but it was a lot of fun. They had a really good turnout. Next Tuesday, November 5th, is voting. Probably one of our most important elections in a long time. Early voting has started at the Villa Park Library if you want to vote early. I think there are some other spots you can, but obviously Villa Park Library is the closest. So November 5th, polls open at 6 o'clock, so make your voice be heard. Free leaf pickup is going right now until December 6th, so anything in the craft paper bags will be picked up for free. If you have leaves or debris in a garbage can, you have to have a sticker, but anything in a craft paper bag will be taken for free.
You just wanted to
Oh,
clarify
I'm
that.
sorry. Okay.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
clarification for the residents. They can't have them in a 35-gallon
Oh, they
container
can? Okay.
without a sticker.
Okay.
It just has to be clearly marked yard waste. We had made that change in this last contract.
Okay.
To allow that for our residents. So
Right.
craft bags acceptable, and a 35-gallon, as long as it's not more than 40 pounds, is acceptable.
Okay, well, thanks, Mike, appreciate it. And Sunday, November 3rd, the Knights of Columbus are having an all-you-can-eat breakfast at St. Alexander's Church in their gym. It's a great event, $13, and they have pancakes and sausage, ham, biscuits and gravy, scrambled eggs, Denver omelet, so it's a really great time, $13, 7 o'clock till 12 o'clock at the gym at St. Alexander's. And that's it for mine on village manager's report.
So just one quick thing before we turn it over to Director Howard. Manager Harline had sent out some information for some renovations that we want to do for what we, call the cable room up here. We'd like to kind of reinvent that space, move our IT manager up into that space, also just do some general updates and cleaning in that room. Manager Harline asked that I, get any feedback if there's any concerns with sort of repurposing that space. Our IT manager is currently in what can best be described as like a long closet. That used to be where our copier was, and so we'd like to just find a better space for him, and while also still providing and updating the space that the Cable Commission uses. And so we just wanted to make sure there's no concerns with that.
Okay. Trustee Kumar.
I would be in favor of that, just so you know.
Trustee Patrick.
The Cable Commission just needs their sound booth that's in there and room for a green screen and maybe a desk, and some areas to store the cameras, lighting, and all that.
Yeah, our goal is to get cabinets just to clean the whole space up and make it much more accessible for the Cable Commission to store their equipment. So we're really looking forward to it.
Okay, good.
And now it's Director Howard's turn at the mic.
Okay, item 21A is our quarterly financial report.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys want to hear numbers here late at night, and I always like to present them here, so hopefully I can hold all your attention for just a moment. But for the third quarter ended September, it's always a good quarter to report on because all our tax collections are pretty much in-house. We're about $1.8 million of higher than last year as far as cash collections go, and that's a matter of timing because September is always the end of the quarter, and it's just when we receive those property tax collections, so we're in good shape now. It's about a 12% increase in cash balances. Funds, and I always talk about funds that have a negative cash balance. We always resolve those as we go to our close. TIF funds are allowed to have those costs. Again, development costs always seem to outpace TIF revenue, so you're going to see some of that. I always want to talk about investments and what we see in the marketplace for the monies that we have outside of the village. We're about 4.5% weighted rate of return for our money markets. Our overall CD portfolio is about 506. What I've been seeing here lately is that interest rates are going down. We had a few investments, some investments, some CDs that were ticking over 5.5. If they had call provisions, they got called, and we're getting investments that are lower than that. But it's been a good 24 for us. We rode the positive interest rates that the rest of the market was in, so that's really a good thing for us. General fund revenues are up about 9.5%. A lot of that was due with grant revenues and reimbursements over last year. We had about $2.2 million of revenue received for grants, about $400,000 from the last year. So you can see that would make a big difference with what revenue shows. Those areas that are showing positive revenue collections, building permits, ambulance fees, garbage fees, expenditures that are holding mainly steady with last year, about 1.6% over the quarter end September. General fund expenditures increased mainly in departments, building and grounds, public works, where you would expect to see those things increasing here. Actual to budgets are about 81%, expenditures 62%. We're going to see that tick up here in the last quarter as public works and all the other projects come to completion. We're going to see that go up. Tax collections are 81% of budget. Again, property tax revenues are in-house mostly. The expectation in the rest of the year would be that we just kind of have those little bits and pieces of property tax collections as we kind of round out the year. So we're pretty much where we want to be there. I'll just give you some village-wide notes. We're about 76% compared to 2023. Revenue, again, tax collections increased, investment income increases, and expenditures are really steady, and we're going to see those increases here as we enter and close out those projects at the end of the year. So any questions I can certainly answer. One thing, as I thought, as we were having our discussions today, we were talking about the rec center and fees and all of those things. I think it'd be very important for us, however those fees pan out, that we get those established to help us budget and see where we are, because things like rec centers, as we all know, are going to, they're certainly very expensive. We have to know how we're going to support that through the general fund, because you don't break even here, you just hopefully supplement it less. So it's very, I think, important to be here saying that. Whatever we choose to do, let's do it so we can have it very clear and very apparent what we're going to do and how we can do that. Right now, with the rec center bonds, we're paying interest now. In 2026, we start making those payments, so it will be very important for us to know where we stand and what those revenues are going forward.
Any questions? Trustee Kumar.
Thank you for that discussion about the rec center. It's a very important in our decision-making as a board to realize that. And our hope is that at our price point that we will have full house and there will be enough revenues to cut even at the rec center. That's our hope as a board. And that's why we think it's very important to get bodies in the door to the rec center, because there's no point in having an empty rec center. It's just money that's spent wastefully. So that's our hope. Yeah.
Once the building's there, we've got to figure out how we can afford it.
Yes.
Chuck, do you have an estimate on days of reserve?
I don't have that here, but I'll get that to you. I usually have that here in my focus. That was like 111.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not sure.
Trustee Kozar.
Please.
So in short, you're saying that we're over about expenses, about 1.6% over in
Yeah.
expenses. However, our revenue is up, did you say almost 9%?
Yes, around 9%. Yeah.
Okay. So overall on budget, we're ahead of the game.
Ahead of the game right now.
Okay.
And that's what happens in this quarter.
And what are you predicting moving into the last quarter?
I expect revenues, of course. We don't have the property tax generators. We'll have the sales tax generators. But I think we're looking like we're good budgeters, because we'll be on it.
And the numbers you were giving was only for the third quarter?
Right, only ended September. I kind of peeked into October, and I saw, as I was looking at property tax, that there's not a lot there. I see sales tax and all those things firm, but that's what we're driving. And one thing, as we talk about property tax, and we'll be talking about levy and some of those other things going forward, is that 80% of what we talk about in that format is sort of out of our control. We've got pensions, we have debt. 20% is what we've got to work with. So it's all the more important to know where we have the steady, predictable revenues to be able to fund those things.
So the numbers you're giving us is, where are we at for the full year? I mean, what you were giving us was the third quarter?
Right, comparable
right?
third quarter,
Okay.
comparable to budget.
How about on year as a whole? Where are we?
Well, that's what we got now. We're only in October. Only got a little ways to go yet.
Okay. But I'm saying from January to
September.
end of third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're giving us?
Yes.
Okay. So
Exactly.
it's not just third quarter you're giving us?
No.
It's the whole
It's
year.
always cumulative.
That's what I'm trying to.
It's
Yeah,
always
right.
quarter on quarter, because that's really the only way you can compare, is how do we do this quarter ended as opposed to the prior quarter ended.
So what you're reporting takes into consideration Q1, Q2, and
Absolutely.
Q3?
It's cumulative.
And that's what you're giving us?
Absolutely, yes.
Understood. Okay.
Great. Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, item 22, executive session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C11 regarding litigation when action against, affecting, or on behalf of the village has been filed and is pending before a court, or when the village finds that an action is probable or imminent. We have a motion to go into executive session and adjourn our meeting out of executive session. We have a motion.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Trustee Kumar, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano. Okay, Clerk Kornacki.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, so we will adjourn to executive session. We'll go into executive session and adjourn out of there. Thanks, everyone. Have a great Halloween. Be safe, and we will see you in 2 weeks.